everyone, my name is Julia and welcome to Julia K Yoga. And today I'm going to show you how with just few yoga poses you can release that tension in the lower back. Now I've done the video last year. I feel this is going to be like the upgraded version of it, and it is because of I'm going to use some props. I know some of you might think that when we actually do yoga for longer or we practice, we don't need props, and I actually think that is exactly opposite. More you practicing yoga, whether there is a dynamic session, dynamic practice, or just coming into the restorative pose, I think you'll start you start feeling the body a little bit more. You start finding what your body needs, and there is a times when we need a little bit more support. So every day is a different day, and every practice requires something completely different. So if you have mat, if you don't, you can actually lie on the carpet. Now this is, as you can see, I'm actually sitting on not just on the mat, but I've got a blanket. And these blankets, I like to lie on a blanket because I don't have a carpet, so it becomes sometimes cold. And it just gives you a little bit nice padding onto the lower back. Now it's not as cold today, it's very sunny, but if you're watching this video maybe later in the evening, you might find it a little bit colder. So always just give yourself extra cushioning so you can create that warmth into your lower back. And then just have a cushion. So this is a meditation cushion. But you can have any cushion, so you know that some people like thinner, some people thicker, but just make sure that you're supporting that cervical spine. We have that vertebra called C7, T1, which is the cervical 7. And this is on the junction of the thoracic spine, and it's a kind of vertebra that it needs to be supported because all the nerves flow through that vertebra all the way to our brain. So it kind of gives us we understand or we feel in our brain what's really happening in our body. So if we don't have supported our head and neck, our body cannot relax completely fully. And then I've got two blocks or two books and a blanket, okay, and then a belt. Now this is a belt which is a yoga belt, but if you don't have it, you can actually have your trousers belt, okay. Now I'm going to show you a poses as well with a bolster, but this is just in case you've got it. If you don't have it, you can use those blocks and then a blanket, okay? So I'll have it all here and I'll use them as we go along. So I'd like you to come, I'd like you to invite you to lie down. And the way we lie down, especially if we have a we feel that sort of tension already on the lower back, I always like you to remind yourself that always bend your knees, whether you're kind of lifting yourself up or going down or lying down. Anytime, it's always you can control it a bit better, that lower back, if you have your bended knees. So as you're going down, just be really mindful. Place the head onto your cushion, and then arms. I'm just going to move this props a little bit away, so hopefully you see okay. And I'm just going to have the hands or arms, so arms a little bit not too close to your body, so slightly a bit away so you have a space. And this is the part, I'm just going to fold this blanket because I want to bring the feet a little bit closer. Now if you start bringing that closer and doesn't work for you, just leave it where you feel comfortable. Okay, so sort of feet could be hip width and your knees are slight, and the knees are not together, they have a little bit of space there. then I want you to experiment this. So you can bring your knees together and then your feet slightly together, or maybe heels closer to your sit bones. So everybody will have this. There is no right or wrong how far your feet need to be. It's really where you feel that you can start relaxing through your lower back. So this is called Constructive rest pose, and it's a really wonderful pose to start your practice, especially with that lower back problem, or even sometimes if you feel overworked, overtired, sometimes even stress. This is such a wonderful pose to just really reconnect with your body and then really kind of let go. So this Constructive rest pose, because you've got elevated knees, you're really letting everything relax through your legs, your hips, your lower back, your pelvis. Now we don't have to do anything. The gravity does all for us. So we even relax our psoas muscles, the largest muscles that connects to our leg and your lower back. Now as you start really dive into this pose, and then with eyes closed, you start, I'd like you to bring awareness towards your breath. So you start a little bit of inhaling, expanding your abdomen, and as you exhale, let the abdomen fall. So you don't need to push or pull that abdominal muscles, your tummy, just let it be naturally. Just remember when you inhale, let the abdomen expand, and when you exhale, let the abdomen fall, really naturally. And I'd like you to stay like this for at least 10 breaths. So you start feeling, especially on your exhalation, as your lower back start imprints onto the mat. You feel the release perhaps into your hips, into your pelvis. And then just the whole area from your legs, from those muscles around your legs to your lower back, starts relaxing. So really reconnect with that feeling, with that sensation of our body. Let even the shoulders be nice and relaxed onto the floor. And enjoy those few breaths. You might even feel sometimes, depends on the day, time of the day, if you're doing this practice. If you're doing, for example, after the eating, so 2-3 hours after, you might start feeling, depends how long you're going to stay in this pose and breathing, you might start feeling as you start listening, this kind of rumbling into your stomach. Now that is actually quite, it's good in a sense where your even organs, your digestive tract starts relaxing at the same time, equally as you letting your whole body relax. And that's a good sign, because even our digestive tract need to have that relaxation moment. As we know that this is our second brain. And as the body starts relaxing a little bit more, your mind starts relaxing a bit more. You're letting that imprint, letting that lower back imprint towards the floor. And then really surrender into this pose. So we're going to start slowly lifting one foot at a time, and then bring your hands on the top of your knees. So we're going to go squeeze a little bit of knees towards the chest. You might possibly see it that your tailbone slightly lifts, and then you go back down with your feet, so your thighs are coming away from your abdomen. And then do it again. Do about 2-3 times. So knees closer to the chest and knees away. So even your feet, so keep the feet nice and relaxed. And then do one more. Now this time when you squeeze, see if you can rock from side to side a little bit. That will give you indication where the pain really is. And then maybe even start circling. Do about 3 circles. You can do clockwise and then anti-clockwise. Just find where we need to release that tension. Okay, so now we bring the feet back down, and then in this it is quite a more very soft, very relaxing, very slow paced yoga practice. So it would be really lovely if you don't even lifting your head up, so keeping onto the floor, just lying down. So I would suggest to have your props ready, so you can just extend your arm and then bring it closer. So what I'm bringing closer here is my 2 blocks and then blanket, okay? And then blanket will be something that just to give you a little bit of softness, or if you have a bolster, then you can have a bolster instead. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to lift the legs up, and then on a supine twist. So supine twists are really wonderful to release the side of our sides of the body, but a lower back as well. So we can a little bit extend those arms, don't have to go too high up, and then bring your knees first, they could be together, and then rest on the top of those blocks. Now what I would suggest in this point, if you try it once and then you feel that you perhaps might need to go a little bit higher because of the support, then bring another either cushion, and then don't be shy to really prop that side so you can find this kind of the relaxation moment. So you want it to feel that the blocks work for you, so they're supporting you. And then just let the top knee, so your top leg, slightly lift towards your shoulder, so towards your left shoulder. So you can have your left hand on the top of your knee. And then keep your right shoulder onto the floor. So if you wanted to have a more twist and more release, you want to keep that right shoulder onto the floor, and now my arm is extended. So it's kind of like a aeroplane wings arms, but I just keep the one arm, and then now you either keeping the head straight, or if the neck is okay and allows you to your cervical spine, you can turn towards your right. And then start bringing the awareness back into your breath. And each time you exhale, let the shoulder melt towards the floor. Let the side of the body soften and then open. Now these poses you can stay as long as you wanted to. I would say maybe 5 to 10 breaths to start with. Sometimes you find props that you usually doesn't take on the first time if you're using the props first time, but more you practice, more you realize that if one point you'll like to bring more props or more cushions, then your body relaxes a little bit more, and then you can stay even up to 10 minutes, 15 minutes in one pose. So whenever you're ready, you can just Gently lift those feet up and knees. And now we're going to lift that support and then place it onto your right side. And we'll do the same thing. So we just lift your feet up and then bring those feet onto the side. The top leg again, so each side is very different. So you'll find which side you might find that is a little bit more tense. So sometimes you might find that one side, the top leg might not go as bendy, or your knee doesn't bend or draw towards the shoulder as the other side. So just let it be in the moment where the legs feel the most comfortable. And then just again feel, try not to put too much pressure onto the shoulder, especially that hand you're holding the knee. And again, so you're letting that shoulder, left side of the shoulder, really letting it sink in and melt towards the floor, as it simultaneously we're a little bit drawing the knee up, so up towards the shoulder, your right shoulder, and the side from the hip all the way to the side of the body, to the muscles around the buttocks, and all the way up. They will start releasing the tension. And then stay there for 5-10 breaths, and then you can come with your feet back to the center in the same position. So, as I said, bringing the belt, I would start again with the knees touching the floor but bent. And then what you could do, you can bring your belt on the ball of the foot, and I would keep the knee bent till you adjust your arms. So the arms should be straight here. And then I'm guessing that if we have a lower back problem, you might find a little bit of kind of weaker in the hamstring. So try not to push it and then feeling like you have to straighten that leg. And just find where you can actually just hold, and then on the exhalation you can bring the knee towards the chest and then release. So as you can see, my elbow is slightly bent as I exhale. Now my right knee is bent as well. Sometimes, normally we would go with the right leg all the way down, but that could feel quite intense. Now if you are there, that it feels comfortable, you can take your right leg down onto the floor and then just work with it. Left leg, every time you exhale, bring the leg closer to the chest. If it becomes too much, or if it's too much from the beginning, just keep the foot onto the floor and then bend the right knee. Now, when you have about 10 breaths, I would just keep the bell, maybe just let it bell come onto your abdomen. Now bring your left ankle on the top of your, not the right knee, but kind of slightly below. And then see if that feels okay to open the knee slightly, so your hip slightly externally rotates. When you feel there is your stopping point, so we know our body will tell you that you can't go any farther. You kind of open that through the hip. So stay there, and then you lift the right leg up. Now this right leg, it doesn't have to go straight. Keep it sort of ankle above the knee height, and then when you flex, so the weight of the leg, and then bring that leg closer to you. Now, if this is not accessible, that your hands come between your legs, especially left one, and then you interlace your hands, just stay with your left hand onto your left hand into your left knee, and then right maybe under. Either have your right foot comfortably, or if you want it a little bit flex, just make sure that the shoulder, you're not putting pressure onto the shoulders. And then squeeze it in. So you're bringing that knee closer. So this pose is called eye of a needle, or kind of, I sometimes call it a reverse pigeon pose. And it's really wonderful to release this tension into your hips. So if you have a lower back problem, I presume that the hips could be tight as well. So you could go there and do about 5 of those breaths. Another alternative is, if you do actually like the bell, you place this bell under your right knee and then hold there, keep the elbows onto the floor, so elbows onto the floor so you don't put any pressure onto your shoulders, and then hold there with the leg and then drawing towards your chest. Okay, so do about 10 times as well, or 10 breaths. It's always good to go kind of slow when you go from one side of the body to the other. So you can come back onto, as we started, the ball of your knee. You can actually move. Actually, let's do that before we go to the other side. So this is a really lovely way to start moving a little bit from the side of the body. So we do a little bit of this external and an internal rotation into your hip. Okay, so as you can see, so feet are wide, either mat width, or I actually have a heels onto the mat and toes out. And then you're letting your right knee come towards the center of the mat, or center of your body. The left knee opens up onto the side, and then you come back. And when you're coming back like sort of into this neutral position. So then you inhale, exhale again, and inhale again as you're there, and exhale as you're letting the left knee come towards the middle of the center of your mat. So you can actually see it from this side better, that my left side of the body starts lifting, and that's okay. Okay, so it starts lifting and I feel the nice sensation in the lower back. Now come back and then exhale again. You could start this really slowly. When you do about 5 of those, you're starting having this momentum through from your hips all the way down. So I'd like you to start really slowly, maybe with a 1 breath and going really slow up. Inhale there again and exhale down. But then with the momentum, what you could do, your body starts opening naturally a little bit more. And then you can incorporate the arm. So take your left arm over your head, left knee down, look towards your left. And then open the whole of your body. And then bring it down. And then try the other side. Now, as you can see it, my left knee, so if my right knee goes towards the center, which means we internally rotate your right hip, my left knee doesn't stay straight towards the ceiling, but opens up. So you do want to open up, so you can lift that right hip a little bit more. Now, right arm above your head, and then turn your gaze towards under your right armpits. Bring the arm down. Exhale. Twist. Feel this beautiful full body stretch. I want you to really, don't be shy, I want you to really use your breath. Exhale. Now come with me, 1 on each side. Let the air go out of your body. Feel the release. And then we come back back to the center, so draw your feet slightly towards the mat if they somehow came outside of the mat. Now, so we're going to go back with the belt, and then let's do the other side. So just be aware that one side you will feel much easier, and one side will be very much very different. It's like, oh, sometimes we feel this is not my body. But it is, and we need to love and cherish that other side as well. Okay, so we're again starting with the bended left knee and then foot onto the floor, and then with right knee slightly bent as well. So you position your arms, so arms are straight, let the shoulder relax, even adjust your head onto the cushion, tack the slightly chin towards your chest. And as you here, inhale, expand your abdomen, exhale, let the navel draw towards your spine. So the abdomen falls, you're bringing that leg. So even if my knee is bent, so it's kind of soft knee, or if you want to bend a little bit more, you can still actually stretch your hamstring there. You can still feel, so the thigh comes towards the chest, and then release. And again, you could try different things. If you feel that you might actually want it to be here with your knee, your left knee bent, and for the 10 breaths, and then you wanted to explore. So always be curious in your yoga practice. Always see that you can always go kind of not just the deeper into your pose, but into your practice. So you can always discover something new every day, each time you're on a yoga mat. And again, you can do 5 or 10 times of those. And then you can gently release the belt. So when you're releasing the belt, bend the knee again. So this is a safe way. Now we won't use the belt anymore, so you can bring the belt onto the side. Your right ankle, as your knees bend, come onto your thigh. Try, don't push that leg around the ankle down. So keep it there, and then just adjust a little bit. So you want it to maybe half centimeters. It's a very subtle when we adjust. You don't want to ever grip or pull the leg, so it feels, never pull and don't pull, no pulling and no pushing, okay, in yoga. We're only just letting the body open up whenever it's ready. So whenever you're ready, we can lift that left leg from the floor. Slightly lifted leg, so your ankle is higher than your knee. Can flex. And again, you have a choice here. So you either interlace your hands under, if that is accessible. If it's not, you can just have your right hand just on top of your knee or slightly lower into your calves. And then left hand under your knee, or even lower. Now hold there, because you can feel lots of sensation into your right hip, your hip flexor. So this is a really nice release. And again, you can do 10 breaths. And then you can bring your legs down. Now, I'm just going to show you this with the bolster. That every time you would want to come into your last pose in a practice, always support your knees. Always elevate your knees higher. So you can even have a couple of blocks or books and then a couple of blankets, but try to have them separate, not together. Because in Shavasana we like having feet wider, so we wanted to have a little bit more space. That's how the body relaxes if it starts just taking even arms away from the body, so it's not kind of too close. So we wanted to feel a bit of space under the armpits. Now rotate your toes slightly in. So you're kind of feeling the gentle internal rotation in your hips. Now bring it back to the center and then let it relax onto the floor. So this gives us a little bit more asymmetry into the body. And then you can just close your eyes. I have to say that this has been lovely to create this video for you, because as much, even though that I don't have a music on, but there is lots of sound outside as the weather gets warmer and it's really sunny. You can hear all those birds creating that sound. Now I'd like you to encourage you to stay here as long as you like, as long as you allow yourself to be. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Now to actually come safely, so when I used to have a lower back pain, I would never stand up straight, but I would always, even in the bed, roll yourself onto the side. If you're in bed, drop the legs down as you're rolling yourself onto the side of the body and then stand up. If you're on yoga mat, it's just the one floor, so the legs are not going to go down, so it's even harder to, or you want it to be more supportive. And then just press on the palm of the hands, and then as you come here, if you wanted to sometimes sit for longer, always elevate your hips, and then you just come here. Take your hands into the prayer. So lovely that you joined me today, and hope you enjoyed it and hope you're feeling much better, because I so relate and I so feel with you. It's not pleasant to have that pains or spasm, so I'm hoping that you're feeling better, and if you need or if you have any questions, please get in touch with me, so I can recommend which of my online classes are the best. And have a wonderful day, and then a day without a lower back pain. Namaste.